call the meeting to order. Begin with the opening invocation.
Holy and gracious Father, Son, Holy Spirit, God, we praise you for who you are and know yourself to be. In a trillion ways, we are the recipient of your presence, and we often aren't even aware, but help us to become more aware so we can thank you more. We lift up the proceedings of the City Council this evening to you. Thank you for each one who is an important part of the whole here. Ask for your wisdom. We thank you for our country's 250 years that's being celebrated this month, and may we continue to be citizens that are faithful and care for the country that we are entrusted with. We thank you for refuge from the sun when we can be in air conditioning. Lift up those that might not have access to that, and please thank you for the resources that are made available for people to get out of the sun, and help us to be aware of neighbors and loved ones to be a part of that in any way that we can. We thank you now for the rest of this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Go ahead and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting. We'll go ahead and move on to our next item, which is to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion Roy, second John. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move on to approve the consent calendar, which are the minutes of our June 23rd meeting and the payment of bills.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Mary, second Roy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Brings us to item number 5, consider authorization to pursue a K-9 program.
In your packet that went up today, there's a proposal that Sir Walpole has put together with Ryan and Missy, and basically I'll let them kind of introduce what they're asking for, but I think in a nutshell is their council support to pursue this and to try to fundraise in order to raise all the funds necessary for K-9, their police department. So I don't know.
Yeah, I can have Dawson explain some of the details, but, you know, just trying to be more financially responsible going forward with this is trying to get donations to start the program. Dawson's been looking into multiple sources to apply for grants and different donations to get the program started. There's a breakdown in your packet of what the costs are going to be, but the dog that he would get would be from Park Rapids area. The trainer is up there, so he would not have to do the travel to the metro or southern Minnesota to do the K-9 training. It would be a local thing where he could commute back and forth and train with a local person, which is beneficial in a lot of ways going forward to have the trainer local as well. It's something he's very passionate about, and you know, we appreciate his enthusiasm for it and think it could be a great benefit to the community and to our department to add the K-9. So I'll have Dawson just kind of explain a few things on how it would benefit us and the community to go forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So as Missy said, we tried to do this the best cost-neutral way we could. We understand we're a smaller city and we may not have the funds a bigger city has. I've been passionate about a K-9 ever since I've been little. I love dogs, love animals. So I decided this was the best route for me in a police position. I explained in here, it's on page 2, Purpose K-9 of the Purposed K-9 program. In there is defined a single purpose and a dual purpose dog. What a single purpose dog is compared to a dual purpose, a single purpose dog is used mainly for sniffing objects and tracking people. where a dual-purpose dog would be your dogs like Wadena County or Todd County has, where they're used for biting people. We understand the liability with biting people on a dual-purpose dog, and we foresee much more benefit with a single-purpose dog. What this dog would be used for mainly is going to be used for finding your missing persons. In the year, I can get an exact number for you here. In 2024, 2025 here, we had a total of 15 missing persons, 8 in 2025 and 7 in 2024. Thankfully, all those people were found, but in the chance that they aren't found, time is always a factor with these things. So what this dog would mainly be used for is going to be used for tracking people. That is people that are missing, vulnerable adults that are missing, or it can be even used for tracking people that may have committed crime, burglaries and such. This dog would be capable of finding articles such as, burglary tools, masks, clothing objects, firearms, weapons, stuff like that. But it can also be used for narcotics. So if we're on a traffic stop and we suspect that narcotics are inside of the vehicle and we need to utilize a dog, we can utilize it for that. As far as training goes, as Missy said, we would be going through a Beltrami Line Canine. He's nice and local, so it makes it easy for us where we don't have to fund for hotel expenses, stuff like that. Yeah.
I think what we're looking for tonight is just to make sure that the council supports us proceeding to look for donations and starting the program, just kind of the blessing that you think this is a beneficial thing, and kind of get some feedback from you guys on what your thoughts are.
Are they somewhat trained a little bit before you get them?
Yeah, so the ones that, if all goes as expecting, the dog would be around a year old when we get it. So they're gonna already be trained prior a little bit, and then we would continue to enhance that training daily, obviously, so we keep it up to date.
So on these missing people that were 23 or 24, whatever you said, in the area, were they missing in Staples, or were they missing all over the county, or two counties away, or where were they at?
Yeah, so all those missing persons, that was just calls that Staples Police Department was involved with.
Involved, or were they in our?
We were involved with, so.
They weren't in our city, though.
Majority of them would have been in our city, yes. I don't have an exact number for you, but.
Okay. I guess here's my thing is that, if we have a canine and somebody flees a deputy 20 miles away, is that, I've been noticing our squad cars are getting out a long ways away. I see them south of Motley, I see them over west of here, and I, as a taxpayer and a citizen, I kind of look at our city police, our city police, and as you know, I was an officer for a long time, 33 years, and I think Missy can attest to this. We pretty much had a leash on us, and we didn't get out of town. It had to be extreme circumstances, and I think that, I was coming back from Brainerd the other day, or a while ago, a month maybe or so, and here goes two of our squad cars heading towards Motley, and there was a car off in the ditch. And I guess what my point is that the money that funds the police department comes from the taxpayers in the city, and I'm not too keen on the idea that we're running all over 5 counties here, assisting and aiding, and our officer's gone, and somebody in the city in dire need needs an officer, and they're not here.
I can tell you, Doug, that things aren't like they used to be, and everybody is shorthanded. And we do and we will continue to help our neighbors, and when they need help, if they're calling for backup, we are going to assist them within reason on person crimes and things like that. And they do the same for us. There's often times when there's only one officer on, and you say you notice them outside of town, I'm sure you notice all the deputies in town helping us as well. It's a mutual thing. That's why they call it mutual aid. It's we help them, they help us.
Well, the deputies in town are funded by the county, and they're supposed to be in town.
Right.
That's the deal. And I don't wanna, I mean, that was an irritant of mine back in the day, but on the other hand, the taxpayers here in town, they expect the officers to be here. And I'm not the only guy that sees them out of here, around here. They see our squad car all over the place, and I look in the police report, and we're running out to, you know, all over, and I just, I don't know. I think that,
Yeah, let's get back to the conversation about the canine. And so one question that would come up would be, would this canine, you know, be used for Staples, but how much would it be used for surrounding areas? I mean, the potential would be there. What was your thoughts on that?
And that's a conversation we've been having quite frequently, and obviously the fine details haven't been worked out, but what our plan is that this is a Staples police dog, so it'll be used in Staples. If he's working and there's a request, you know, if there's a missing child or I don't know if everyone is aware of the amount of group homes and sober houses that have been popping up in town and around town, but it's huge. And I would say the vast majority of our missing persons are from group homes. And it's been a huge tax on the police department to add these in town. But things like that, you know, if Dawson was on duty and they were requested, we would probably help with something like that. If it's a person thing, you know, a person crime or a person welfare thing, you know, if it's a drug sniff in Browerville, we're not going to go to something like that. But if it's a person crime or something like that, we do help each other out. And
we have a lot more incidents of more seniors that are having more dementia issues, and I think it's a great idea. I think we're progressive, and I know that our counties are short on officers as well. So however we can help, and I know Staples is our primary, and we're not gonna not take care of our people and mainly focus on others. And I have a husband, and if he wanders, I would sure like to have that extra resource to find them. Except he'd want to keep the dog, so there you go.
There's two things. I mean, the one is that you're willing to fundraise and get donations, you know, so it'd be budget neutral.
Yep.
And then I think the annual operating expense of $12.50 is definitely reasonable for what the cost would be and expenses would be. So.
Yeah, I did some research on this because we get kind of a general agenda, you know, a couple days before, and it's not quite as detailed as the day of, but I did some research into it, and I just couldn't find anything negative about it. I found several resources that said it can actually be a cost savings to the community, just speeding up the officers' resource, you know, their time and finding what they need to find. And one of the biggest bullet points I saw was the public relations side of things, parades, national night out, all that stuff, you know, it's going to the school, things like that. So, I mean, you have my full support.
Kind of pushing off that a little bit as well for you guys to a little bit better understand, but some handlers train their dogs to be very defensive and some have been training them to be offensive. Basically the difference is your dog going to be aggressive or is it going to be nice? Well, in this case, we're going with a dog. It's obviously going to be nice. So yes, we can use it in cases like that where with community engagement and walking through the school and interacting and just getting that engagement with police officers, which is crucial nowadays.
Yeah.
Because I know there's interest in having a canine at National Night Out.
Sure.
And so I visited with Tony, because I think they have a canine, and they said that would not be a good dog to come to National Night
Yeah.
Out, because it's
Yeah.
not a people dog.
None of us are around that
And,
dog.
you know, all you need is one little child to say doggy and go, and I'm glad it's gonna be more of a people dog, a working people dog
Absolutely.
than not.
And that's the one, the plus about this particular dog being a single purpose, is even some of the dual purpose handlers, or like a single purpose dog would be amazing for those missing persons, especially vulnerable adults and juvenile kids, because they're too scared, like Todd County's dog, for example. You could not let that dog look for somebody that was not a suspect in a crime. That dog is way too aggressive, even if it had a muzzle on it, it would still attack that person, and you couldn't use it to look for kids or vulnerable adults. So, or a dog like this you could utilize for that purpose, so.
A lot of people in this room may not know it, but I had a canine for 5 years, back in the 80s. And, our banker, Don Eddy, sponsored the program. There was probably at least 50 departments that got dogs through that program. And we trained our own dog. We had training sessions at his place there. He had the handler trainers come in from Denver and St. Paul PD. We trained every weekend, or at least a couple of weekends a month. We got dogs that were strays or whatever wherever we could get them. And I had it for 5 years, I think, till 1985. So I mean, I'm not against the dog program. I'm not against, where I'm looking at it is it being available in our town when it's needed, not, going all over the country here. And I'm looking at the cost factor. I've been on both sides of this fence. I was a police officer, I was a firefighter, I look at the cost of it, but I also now, as a city council member, I look at a budget and I look at the cost and all this other stuff, the tax in our town, I hear complaints almost daily about the cost of living here. So that's my reservations about it. I'd like to have a little sit down and have maybe put together a little group with our council here that we could sit down and look at all the pros and cons. I mean, this is just tonight, the first time I heard about it when I looked at my agenda for the meeting tonight. So I'm not 100% opposed to it. I just want to know where the cost and how it's going to be used and guidelines and that type of stuff. So I think that's to me, that's what we need to do. I mean, we're just a couple months out from budgeting, and we can look at the budget, see where that's, because I mean, it sounds great fundraising and all that, but every time the dog is called out, $50 an hour overtime, and there's costs associated with that aren't going to be. Once the dog is here, I'm assuming the fundraising probably will somewhat evaporate and it'll become a budget item. So I watched a lot of dog programs come and go, and that went great guns to start with, and all of a sudden it gets to be like with my dog in the car, hair all the time, uniform covered with hair, barking. Roaming around, having to get out and let it go to the bathroom, and training constantly with it. It's a big deal. It's not just because it's trained, it don't mean that it's trained for good. That's something you work on continuously. So I would like to be able to meet with a couple council members and have some discussions on this, because I am well aware of the dog program and how it works, and I was involved with it quite heavily, so I understand it, but.
Gerald, what are you looking for tonight then from the council? Just just a consensus to move
Well,
forward?
basically, indication from the council if he can start moving forward, trying to find funding sources.
Sure.
We don't, there's no guarantee that we're gonna find all the money
Right.
out there to do it. But,
Just
I
looking for
think
support of
the
the
conversations that we've had, and Doug, we've had some of the conversations that you're talking about too. Is we want this to be as budget neutral as possible. On the front end, we want the cost to be totally covered. The idea of trying to establish a fund that we can draw from even in the future has been something that we're looking at.
And I do know a couple of the grants that Dawson's found already. They are a renewable grant. You can reapply each year for them. And we've talked to the people that are in charge of those, and they've indicated, they can't guarantee we'll have them, but we can at least apply every year to get refunded in the following years. So some of the options we have for the initial startup can possibly go forward with operating costs as well.
And as far as getting called out, I think a lot of that has to do with the department head and obviously making up, kind of like what we do now for assisting other agencies. And obviously, if it's an emergency, we respond to and help other agencies out. Having, writing a generic policy that yes, you can go out of this exact circumstance or this exact circumstance, it becomes very trivial and hard to do. If it's a missing 5-year-old, we can go, but a 7-year-old, we can't. Or where do we draw the line? I guess if it's an emergency or a person crying or involving, something, kind of like the discussion we had, if it involves people and it's an emergency, yes, but drugs, obviously, if it's a drug sniff, yeah, we're not going to call out and occur that overtime at 2 in the morning and
Right.
occur that to the city.
So some of that determination is yet to be made as far as the kind of when it's used and when it's not used and that type of thing. But that was something that would come in the future as far as what to find.
Yeah, because we've not had this since the 80s, it's new to me. And Ryan and I have sat down with Dawson multiple times and had the conversations on, this cannot be a financial burden thing. It has to be a need-based thing. And, like I said, Dawson's very passionate about it. We think he'll do an excellent job at it and that it does have the benefits to do it. As far as technically the policy on it, I have not done that yet. We have researched other agencies on how they do the compensation, and we've had conversations with Dawson, about how that could possibly be worked out here. We don't have that down to the detail yet, but we have a pretty good framework on what we were thinking, and making sure that it's fair for his time compensation, but also responsible for the budget, so.
So you're looking for a consensus of the council to move forward. Is that correct, Gerald?
Yeah,
Not a formal motion or?
Basically to explore what our options are and try to raise some money, get some financial commitment to see if we can get there.
So we're not looking for a motion and a second and a vote. We're just looking for a consensus.
I think just the indication from the council that we have the green light to start pursuing this.
Do we have a consensus?
Yes, with me.
Okay. So I think we have a consensus to move forward. Good luck and,
Thank you,
keep us
guys.
posted.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Let's move on to item 6. Consider resolution 2041, notice of order to remove hazardous buildings at 512 Fifth Street Northeast.
Copy of the resolutions in your packet, as well as a number of other supporting documents for this property. I believe that fire was in November last year that damaged this structure. Had a couple of conversations with the owner, and I don't think we're going to get anywhere with that. So we did get a administrative warrant, went in, did the inspection, photographed. You see the photos in here of the current condition. And we did notify the property owner of this hearing tonight, and my recommendation would be to adopt the resolution. We'll then contact the owner and request that he clean it out within 21 days, otherwise we'll go back to the court and move forward with the hazardous building process for removal structure.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2041.
Second.
A motion John, second Mary. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of resolution 20, or of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Move us to item number 7, which is to review and discuss 2027 through 2031 capital improvement plan.
Copy of the CIP is in your packet. It's largely unchanged from what we talked about a couple of meetings ago. That was the first opportunity for you to take a look at it back at that time. So I want to open it up and, first of all, find out if there's any specific questions that the council has related to items on the CIP. So I think what I'll do for the sake of time, let's talk 2027. That's where we're, in a month, we're going to be in here talking budget for 2027. And anything that falls in the subsequent years, there's all kinds of time to react to it. But fire, looking at mobile radios, we've got the Axiom system for the PD, squad car. We talked about the changes to the lease program with the squad and the financial benefit of buying them instead of continuing to lease them. Computers in the office, squad camera, and body cams, basically to start to replace those. They're not going to be supported anymore. Park and rec, playground equipment, golf cart, picnic tables, caboose painting, we're going to be able to pull that one off of 2027. So for the next, when we actually look at adopting this, we'll have that removed. So the caboose actually is painted, so. In streets, mowers, replacing a lawnmower, sidewalk overlay, seal coat, hot water pressure washer, stump grinder, brush cutter, looking to extend Park Avenue from 3rd Street, which would be the northwest corner of the football field, over to Airport Road, and plow truck replacement. Within sewer air release valves, we actually I think we're done with the first batch now. Replaced the first batch here in the last week or so. We'll be doing the second. Depending on what happens with Southside Project and PFA funding, we would look at, if that doesn't happen in 27, the 4th Street Southwest sewer replacement. We would want to move forward with doing that one stretch there. And then lining some manholes. Within the water plant, the PLC upgrades, more water meters, AMI stuff, rebuilding the center column down at the water plant, the pickup truck, and 4th Street Southwest water main. We aren't going to go in and do sewer and not do water at the same time. So, and then the mixer for the water tower. Light, we're doing some preliminary design and site selection for a light shop building. So we've got a number in there. We don't know what a build number will be until obviously the design gets further along, but kind of a placeholder. Flatbed trailer with wire reels, underground improvements, transformers are kind of an item that recurs every year. And then digger derrick truck, 8th Street Northeast underground installation, getting some of that difficult to access overhead buried, so we don't have access issues. And then just the final little bit of AMI in 2027 on the electric side.
I just have a couple questions. Sidewalk replacement, intersection of 4th and 3rd. So all that where they have the pavers on the corners, that will go away, and they'll just do that, kind of do that whole corner, like corner over again? Is that kind of the idea?
It depends on which intersection, you know, like
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
Fourth Street and Second Avenue, we do have that, because those are,
Yeah, that's Main Street, right?
Yeah.
The next block up, is that Third?
there might be a chance to,
Yeah,
right, yeah, Third Avenue and Fourth Street, there might be an opportunity to replace bricks,
yeah.
you know, but,
Yeah, because I
The
know
one
you
at-
guys are doing Second, but this one says Third, so I was just clarifying that. 4th Street and Third. Right?
I'm sorry, where are we looking?
2027, see, sidewalk replacement under yellow.
Oh, okay, well, yeah,
It should say that should say Second, right?
no, Second Avenue and Fourth Street is this year. And we may, yeah,
Oh, this year.
there might be an opportunity to
Gotcha.
reuse bricks for that.
Okay, that clarifies it for me. And then, light shop building, is that the location of that? You guys figured out where that still might go or might not go?
Not for sure yet
Yeah.
at this point. You know, one of the concepts that we had talked about was trying to actually put it on the end of the existing street shop, so there would be kind of a common office type area.
Yeah.
It tails off pretty quickly going to the east, get into some wetland stuff, so we're actually doing a couple of soil borings just to see what the soil conditions are where the old wastewater plant was.
Oh,
You know, so be in the same general vicinity. That option that we're exploring right now has obviously a lot more open real estate around it. But until we drill the holes, we aren't gonna know for sure what, I don't know what that got. Hopefully it's nice clean sand that filled that all in after the old one was taken out.
nice to have it all on the same campus though.
Yeah.
You know, that's the main thing. All right, thanks. Anybody else have any other questions for 2027?
So on the AMI, is this gonna be the finishing of it? Or will this be an ongoing budget item?
Their, electric is gonna be finished, electric is very, very close already. Water is gonna be a challenge to get into every single place. There's just gonna be some people who are gonna do everything they can to keep us out. We've already got several cases of, you know, so like our policy right now is if we have to go into a house, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna replace the meter and add a node. And there's some people already that, they have paranoia about the water node. You know, sending radio signals and Big Brother and things like that. So there's, you're just gonna have some of those, and I've talked to other communities that do this, and you know, they get creative and either have a non-access charge or something like that, or you know, or turn the water off, I guess. But it's just a lot harder when you have to get into somebody's house and do the work.
Isn't there some law that, you know, being we have our utilities into people's houses, isn't there some law that if you can't go in there and inspect it or look at it or something, that you can turn it off and?
Sure, it's in our ordinances that it requires access. Yeah, it's just that, you know, if we wanna, you know, we're not to the end yet, so we don't know how many people or who is going to be those that completely resist. But yeah, when that day comes, you know, we can talk about it, because it is in the ordinances that says you have to allow us access. But, you know, people can get creative and just say, well, I'm never home during the workday. You know, I'm working when you guys are, so there's just no way to let you in. And, you know, there's all kinds of stalling techniques. So.
So I know that in a lot of other communities, you end up in court, trying to get a court order to force your way into it.
No kidding.
And that's expensive too.
All right, any other questions? All right, is that all you were just gonna cover 2027?
Yeah, I was just, you know, unless you want to go into some of the other stuff, we're gonna obviously have a public hearing go through it at our next meeting as well.
Let's consider setting a public hearing on July 28th at 7:05 for the 2027 to 31 capital improvement plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion John, second Mary. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consider rescheduling August 11th council meeting due to primary election.
So we can't meet between 6 and 8 on August 11th.
801.
801, yeah.
I knew you were gonna say that.
801 works for everyone, I think, correct?
It's easier than trying to pick
Every day.
another day.
Move, Roy moves,
I'll second.
Mary seconds. 801 on August 11th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consider resolution 2042 appointing elected judges for August 11th, 2026 at the primary election.
So moved.
Motion Roy,
Second.
second Blake. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll abstain.
Consider approval of outdoor event request for Napa customer appreciation on July 21st.
A copy of that request form is in your packet. You know, I think from a staff level, we have no issues with it. MnDOT, for the closure, has that been applied for or granted already?
Yeah, they applied for and received a permit from MnDOT to close the right turn lane, so. And then, yeah, we don't see any issue. It'll be Fifth Street for the width of their building.
I'll make a motion for that approval.
I'll second.
Motion John, second Mary. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Consider approval of the 26-27 school resource officer agreement with Central Lakes College.
Agreements in your packet, basically everything is the same except the years and the dollar amount.
This is pretty early for them to have this ready, isn't it? This year?
Well, with all the change out there, we were scrambling, but yeah, it basically is effective July 1. So with CLC, the school isn't until September, but we've got them both ready to go. So.
I'll make the motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Motion Mary, second John. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And let's consider the same thing for Staples Motley School.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Blake, second by John. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Consider approval of the 4th Street Northeast Street Utility Project Change Order Number 1.
So basically the section that we were talking about earlier, that 5th Street crossing piece is what this change order was. It was, well, I don't know how to get in the plan set that was big, but basically to bring that water across to the west side of 5th Street.
Well, that's where all the holes are.
Yep. And there, you know, the street was gonna get ripped up anyway because the sewer was coming across. So, you know, we figured there's not gonna ever be a better time to get water to the west side of 5th. Stubbed to be able to serve that EDA lot to the north, which we've had development interest on from a couple of different parties, but it's hard to have anything developed if you don't have any sewer and water available. So now it will be, and I would recommend approving the change order, and we'll keep moving forward.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion Mary, second John. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. That brings us to committee reports, and the first one is Staples Economic Development Authority.
EDA last met on Tuesday, the 23rd of June. Economic Alliance, which is the Wadena County Economic Development Organization, their new director, Allison Medic, attended the meeting, talked about what she's been doing and the services that they provide at the Economic Alliance. Approved a couple of invoices that we do annually, one to the County Development Corporation, one to the Economic Alliance to support their efforts. But the Economic Alliance one was $1,500, did the $1,130, which was requested by the Issue Foundation for their donation. And Jim essentially kind of updated on some of the discussions with the old City Hall building across the parking lot. And so we had a little bit of conversation on that, but no action, kind of a wait and see type of this position that we've got right now. Talked about a couple of other projects, one being a trailhead project on the property on the west side of First Street over Third Avenue, which was actually donated to the city for a trailhead years ago. Some conversations with Mason Bodega, which is a marketing firm out of the metro area, and Ron and I actually have a meeting with them tomorrow just to kind of see what they're proposing now that Jim is no longer here. So, and then essentially the last item was Jim's announcement that he's resigning as EDA director. And the end of it. So now we're having a conversation at EDA as far as next steps on that process, and what we want to look for and how we want to go about it. So, and I see that he spelled my last name wrong in the last paragraph, so had to train him well. Any questions on the EDA?
All right, we'll go on to Public Works Commission.
I just want to highlight a couple things. They're both in the council packet. First thing being Missouri River Energy is looking to extend what they call the S1 agreement, which is our power sale agreement. They do this every 10 years, so the agreement is 30 to 40 years long. The advantage in doing that is that when they have their members committed for that long, then that gives them better standing when it comes to long-term financing, so they get better rates. So the last time that Staples did this was in 2017. I'm sure they did it again in 2007 and 97, so it just happens every 10 years, but this is something we need to do before November 1st, but I didn't want to dump it all on you guys on one meeting, so I'll just provide information as we go. So there'll be some more information at the next meeting, so you can see what it is about, but I just wanted to give you a notice of what it is. The next item is that we're just about ready to approve the Municipal Power Advantage. That is a document that Missouri River put together for us that was free of charge, but it's kind of a short document that highlights the benefits of owning a municipal utility. Mentions things like how the utility supports other other departments with some of its funds, and then also we hire linemen to work at the utility, but they're also out there doing other things as far as like putting up banners and flags and things like that. And talks about the, one of the big advantages obviously is reliability, how short our outage times are, things like that. But this is it's really well done, and it puts it in easy to read and understand, and can be used as a good tool, I think, for economic development and things like that. So this is the proof, but we're just about ready to approve it, and then it'll come out in a nice magazine type format. And that's all I have.
Anybody, any questions for Scott or about this he was talking about? I see our population is 3,068 on your report there.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I'm not sure where the specific information comes from, but
All
not
right.
our sign, obviously.
Yeah.
Todd County.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to open forum. Anybody here would like to speak at open forum? All right. We'll move on to city administrator's report.
Just a couple of items, I guess, update on 4th Street. Had a construction meeting today at 3rd Avenue up the park, curb and gutter is all in, so it actually looks like the street coming back. With the timeline to get some fiber optic telephone cables moved across the judicial ditch there with those box culverts, they kind of shifted, modified the sequencing, and started south of the culvert and are down, basically to Dower Avenue now. And they're going to continue south, as I understand it, down to Park. Originally, they were going to do the south end and the north end and then fill in the gap later. But with that schedule being pushed back a little bit on that fiber relocate, they wanted to basically start the ditch, go south, make sure it's done before school starts, so that the school has access to the bus, also parent drop off, pickup parking lot there. So, also talking to them today, as it pertains to railroad days, how much are you gonna have done? Where, how's that fit in with railroad days plans and parade and all that kind of stuff? I think, and, Ronnie can speak to this too, but I think looking for a suitable plan B is probably appropriate at this point to try to avoid forestry altogether. Whether that's going west over to the 2nd, 3rd Street, or I think there was even a proposal in Dakota and Wisconsin parade. So we'll see what Discover Staples is interested in pursuing.
I had a discussion with Jordan about after ours meeting, and he's not really quite sure what's the best route because there's pluses and minuses to every, without 4th Street and using 2nd Street. So he's going to keep biking and walking and thinking and take input from people and try to come up with something here. So.
It'll be nice when it's done.
It'll be nice when it's done. Be a heck of a parade.
So, last thing we talked about Caboose a little bit, that everybody's aware that it has been painted, the logos and everything are going to go on in a couple of weeks, but the gentleman that has kind of become our technical advisor on this project actually found a photograph of that specific caboose when it was still an empty caboose. When it was in service and sent it to me. So that's essentially what it's going to look like.
Nice.
It needs that detail on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It does, too.
yeah, Tuscan led by itself. So it's coming along pretty good. That's all I have. Any questions?
And will they adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
So you're fishing, huh?
Yeah, I did some fishing in Canada, some fishing in the hole. My sister and brother-in-law came over